When the bill comes before the president has many different options that he can choose. The president can sign the bill, and then the bill becomes law. The president can refuse to sign the bill, and after 10 days, the bill becomes law. The president can veto the bill, and this is basic rejection of the bill, and it goes back to the Congress, and Congress then can override the veto. It takes 2/3 of the House and 2/3 vote of the Senate to override a veto. The last override of a veto was in the 1980s when President Reagan vetoed sanctions bill on South Africa, and the Congress overrode that veto. And it's very hard to get 2/3 vote for any issue. Sometimes it's hard to get 2/3 vote in the Senate, and this requires Senate and House. The other things that presidents do that is kind of like informal is we've seen a rise in signing statements, and that is where when the president signs the bill, they will actually make a statement, say, I'm not going to enforce this part of the bill, I don't like this part of the bill, and they make a signing statement. I saw that under George W. Bush, saw that under President Clinton. I've seen less under President Obama with signing statements, or at least it's less mentioned in the media. There's also a thing called a pocket veto. The pocket veto is if a bill is brought to the president before the end of a session. So at the end of a session, in the last 10 days, so say like there's 8 days left to the session, and there's not enough days for review. So you need 10 days for the bill to review. So say the president doesn't sign the bill, gets it in with 8 days left in the session. It doesn't hit the 10 days, so the bill actually just dies. It's a veto. He doesn't have to sign it, doesn't have to do anything, and then it dies because it's at the end of the session. And that's the only time it can happen is towards the end of the year or end of a session of Congress. And if the bill gets to the president with 5 days left in the session, if he doesn't sign it and he just doesn't do anything with it, it actually then just dies. That's called a pocket veto. So you've got signing statements, you've got the pocket veto, you've got the veto, he can sign it. Now, couple of Republican Congresses, and it's something that's very popular, and I like the idea quite a bit, is an item line veto. An item line veto is where the president can strike a line out of a bill and say, okay, this is wrong, we're going to get rid of that, but the rest is fine. It can take care of money, riders, it can unnecessary spending bills or things that are kind of weird. The president, whatever he doesn't like, could just say, oh, this line, this paragraph, this part of the bill, but keep the rest. So you're not throwing the entire bill out, it's just a part of it. This is unconstitutional. To change the Constitution, we need to do an amendment to actually give the president the item line veto. So this was struck down in Bill Clinton's term. The Republican Congress gave him by a law, they said, okay, you can do an item line veto, and it was brought to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, it has to be done by an amendment. So you might hear of item line veto. It's unconstitutional, but it's very popular, and it's something that could be done, but right now it's not. You have to do a constitutional amendment for it. So president's actions are sign the bill, refuse to sign the bill and just let it become law, and basically do a pocket veto. The other signing statements, don't know how constitutional it is, because that's basically the job of the president, is to enforce a bill and sign it and do it, but we have those. So hopefully this makes sense and you understand the president's actions for the bill making process.